It is still the press reaching you live from KAFTAN Television Abuja this morning. And yes, I am happy to let you know that my guests are in the house already. Let me start with a lady first who has become a friend to the house. She is Tayo Laniyi. She is a social affairs commentator. It's so nice to have you on the press this morning once again. Looking beautiful as ever.
Thank you so much.
Well, we also have a gentleman in the house to balance the scale of discussion, and he is Uthman Tochukwu, as a lawyer as well as a social commentator, a man of many parts indeed.
Thank you very much.
It's so nice
for
to
having
have
me,
you
Anire. Thank you.
on the press. Tracking you down is not easy at all.
You know,
whether you're traveling or you're one restless person, I can say.
Yeah,
restless looking for the money.
My days ends are starting in court. So here and there, I'm always in court.
Yes, yes. So, like, I love to. There's a lot to talk about in Nigeria. A lot on the front pages, but we somehow have three current, or should I say 4 major issues running through the papers this morning. Before we begin, I would love us to do it the way we do it on my bit on the press. That is, pick your mind a little bit on the state of the nation. I would want to start from Tayo. Let us get your feel. You know, some of the things we were talking about before we came on live, I would really want to share, you know, with everyone this morning. State of the nation, the state of mind.
All right, thank you so much for this great privilege. Right now, I think things are getting a bit better economically. The price of the Naira has gained a little strength, and it has started reflecting, you know, like we said in the last time that we've not seen it reflect.
Okay.
So, but now I think there's some little reflections. I went to the market to buy some food stuff, and I saw some little prices of things.
Little changes.
Changes, yes. So things are getting better. And fuel, NNPC have reduced their fuel price. So I think things are getting better in the nation. We're just seeing little changes. We believe for more.
Okay. So Isa, I want your state of mind right now.
I will call this anticlimax.
Why so?
Yes, because for some of us who have been on the feed politically, we know that this day will come, right? Because the climax were there when things were going high. Nigerians were giving up. Nigerians were saying Ahmed Bola Tinubu will not have it for second time because of this and that. But we know that this is political climax and anti-climax. When it's 2 years to election, expect more things to be easier, because he has to play into our psyche, right? So that we can say, okay, fine, this guy has been doing this. It appears like he has solution to this thing. Let's just give him the second chance to come and fulfill it. And that's how it is. And if you look at the trajectory in our political cycle, it has been like that. Even when President Muhammad Buhari was in power, it happens like that. When they initially came, it appears like things were going haywire. At the time, it started reducing. So all these fluctuations are part of the political gimmicks. We don't have to fall for this until I see fuel pump price reduced to what the government met, or a little bit, right?
When you say a little bit, can you give us a figure?
Yeah, if we can get it for like 300 naira, 350. But some of these analysts who understand how the petroleum sector works will tell you that it is not possible looking at the indices. But we are not here to analyze the indices. I'm telling you that it is just a political anticlimax. Okay.
I'm not going to call you the son of Issachar this morning, because according to the Holy Book, it says the son of Issachar, they understand the times.
Yes, and they are wiser.
They understand the times. And that's the story you're giving us this morning. Okay, so let us go now straight into the papers this morning. And we're going to start with the Punch. I'm going back to the Punch, which says, how a Conde-led panel forced Miranda out, reinstated Obasa. There was a rider to that. It says uncertainty surrounds assembly leadership as APC GAC members allay fears. Now, this has been on for a while. The Lagos Assembly crisis. Do we remove the crisis from it right now, since Obasa is back, and call it Lagos Assembly unfolding situation? Anyway, that is the reality on ground. But you've always been on set with me when we talk about the Lagos situation, starting from when Miranda was still there, with the support from my colleagues, and of course the drama with the return of Obasa after coming back from Atlanta, and the unfolding drama that has followed. I would want your personal thought on the situation right now. Obasa is back, and of course Miranda is out. That's how one of the papers clearly stated it this morning. Your take on, on the surface, what's going on in Lagos State in terms of the National Assembly?
Okay, my take for what has happened has always been that actually his removal was, there was no due process followed because he was not around. The court was on recess. The House Assembly was on recess when he was removed. So I, for one, didn't accept that kind of removal. I wanted them to at least wait for him. When he returns, then they can now, impeach him or, remove him the way they want. But they did it in his absence, which was wrong. So, and now that he came back, he started pulling all the troubles and all the challenges, meeting from, and the president had to step in. And that was why they had to form, a committee to look into it. And that's how, they reached this consensus of telling her to step down and allowing him to, they now had to vote again, and he was brought back back to his seat. But what I want to say is that the 49 days that Miranda spent on that seat, she did a wonderful job, and all her colleagues commended her for the job well done. She went through harassment, she went through oppositions, she went through a lot, but she was focused to drive to ensure that the house was also focused, and to take the house to the heights they were supposed to go to. And everybody commended her. And I love how quiet she was. I love how she easily stepped down without any challenge. Normally women are known for I will not agree, I will not step down, I'm not supposed to, and all that. But I just like how peaceful it went, how matured she displayed, her character. I just love that, and which is, everybody should learn from her.
But I just sorry to quote you. Do you think if the reverse were the case, do you think Obasa would have stepped down for Miranda?
For me, he wouldn't have. There will be a lot of, they will go to court. They will go to court because he will feel he was elected there and he deserved to be there.
Due process was followed.
Yes. Because due process was followed. She didn't just get there. They elected her to be. The people elected her, and people loved her. And even when she was coming, stepping down, her colleagues, Arozi Moshood, praised her and told people to, shower her with encomium of how good she had been, how focused she was, and everything. And I'm happy that within those 49 days, she was able to, lead. She was able to lead, with wisdom. She was able to lead properly. She was able to lead the people to where they were supposed to, and everybody were happy with her. And that's something I really commend her, and that's one thing I want every woman to also, learn from, because she's really an example indeed.
Now I'm happy we have a lawyer in the house. Now it is important for us to take a look holistically from the side of the law. Isa, you need to let us understand the implication of this on our democracy, because before we came on, you were asking questions. Was this decided, Obasa's return, was it decided by the court, was due process followed, especially the reality that this man was impeached. You know, if we go down, take a little bit of history, he was elected in 2007. His journey into the Lagos Assembly started in 2007, and by 2015 he became Speaker. He was removed January 2025, and you know, someone else was, his deputy was duly elected. It wasn't like she imposed herself. You know, due process was followed, because the same people who put him there, the same people were dissatisfied with his service. They removed him, and someone else was elected to represent them. And we wake up this morning, or since Monday morning, to find out that
she had to step down.
She had to step down, and he is back. You asked the question, and I said, no, I'll be the one to ask you when you ask me. As a lawyer, we want your take. Due process or not? How does this look on our democracy as a people?
Thank you very much once again. You see, I've always maintained about Obasa's removal that it was a democratic coup, in the sense that in a democracy, if you want to plan any coup in a democracy, for it to be legitimate, it must drive its procedural aspect of that coup from the constitution. Now, if you look at the circumstances that surrounds his removal from office as Lagos State Speaker, Lagos State Speaker of Assembly, you would understand that it was too shady and hasty. And bringing in the woman was exactly what is supposed to be done at the time, because she is supposed to be the deputy speaker. It's just like saying the president and vice president. Once the office of the president is absent, automatically the vice president assumes the position of the president, and that is what happened in that case. But what was the question? The question was whether or not due process was followed, because in every state house of assembly there is procedure through which their principal officers are elected into office, and the same procedure were also provided on how the removal was going to be. But I think that what happened was that when Obasa returned and found out that he had been removed from office, he felt that it was an injustice. Not that the House did not have the right to remove me, but the House must remove me within the ambit of the provisions of the law. And since that procedure was not followed, I think that the best thing for me to do is to approach the court, you know, to exercise my right.
But this wasn't done by the court.
Yes, because we were aware that he wanted to approach the court. I think it was at that time that this committee were set up and say, please, let us look at it internally.
Committee put together by the president.
Exactly. Okay. Let us look at it internally. And don't forget that the president is the party leader, and he has the duty of care, right, to, you know, see that some of these political actors, especially in Lagos State, follow the, do the right thing in order to forestall that peace, which even the court also recognized. They call it ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, that everything must not end up in the courtroom. If you have another means through which you can resolve conflict, please, it is advisable to key into that. And that was what happened, and that particular committee was set up to resolve the issues. And this is where I also relate with the fact that if it turned the table round, if it were a man that was acting as speaker in position of that lady, she's not going to step down. No, because what is the principle of alternative dispute resolution? That whatever is the resolution of those committees, you are bound by it. And both parties were parties and agreed that whatever the outcome may be, and I think on the basis of that, whether it was a man or a woman at the time, so long as the committee has resolved that you are going to step down, you are definitely going to step down. Regardless, but I also commend the woman speaker.
You know, we are right here in the studio speaking a lot of grammar.
Yes.
The common man on the street will not understand the mathematics or, you know, the metrics that goes into the politics of Nigeria in this present time.
That's true.
But they are not stupid. Nigerians are very, very intelligent people. We don't need classrooms to, you know, to showcase how intelligent that we are. But I asked a simple question: what will this imply on our democracy?
Honestly, it's unfortunate because you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to grow. The basis is that as far as the Lagos State House of Assembly is concerned, it means that they are not properly guided by their rules, because ab initio that mistake should not even happen in the first place.
Yeah.
The politics was too far dirty. Yes, and because of that, we need to be very careful, because we operate constitutional democracy, and for whatever we do, we must drive the legitimacy from the constitution. The moment you go outside that, it becomes an impunity. And for a house that is saddled with the responsibility of making laws for the state to go outside the ambit of the law to take a certain step, that should be, it sends a very wrong signal to our democracy, and we should be careful so that we don't repeat such next time.
Okay, because again, River State is still there.
Exactly.
River State.
Exactly, like River State.
Yes,
you know, I came here
similar.
and I told you that the fact that the Supreme Court did not look at that matter on the merit, they just went to court and withdrew the appeal. Since the appeal was to determine the subject of the legitimacy or the legality or otherwise of the 2024 budget, they said 2024 budget has elapsed. We are now in 2025, so there is no need. Our appeal has been overtaken by time. And then they decided to withdraw it. So the Supreme Court did not look at it on the merit. But we insisted that the fact that those members had already defected and left the party that brought them into power,
And
it
that's the
becomes a question of
constitution.
fact.
Exactly.
What the constitution said is that the moment you leave your political party that brought you into power, right, for you to keep holding that position, you need to prove that there is crisis in that political party that made you to leave in the first place. So it's a question of fact. If you cannot prove that there is crisis or national crisis in that party and you left, you cease to become a member of that particular position. And that is what happened in River State. They left even when there was no physical crisis in PDP, and they went and formed another political party and held election. So on the basis of that, the Supreme Court voided everything and declared it invalid and set for another election to take place. So these are one of the major problems we have in democracy. As much as you want to abuse it, we must respect the institutions of democracy.
Interesting. Now, if we can actually show the people the front page of the Guardian newspaper, talking about the situation in the Lagos Assembly, the Guardian newspaper, the picture there tells a huge story, a story that tugs at the heart of a lot of people, with Obasa reinstated, and of course Miranda just falling and falling. That's the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Without words, it tells the entire story. It says party power prevails as Miranda resigns, Obasa returns in Lagos Assembly shake-up. Now, Tayo, before we go fully to talk about the ultimatum given to Fobara, the 48 hours. In fact, it is less than 48 hours now for him to come up with the 2025 budget for River State. Let us just round up a little bit on the situation in Lagos State. Sometime last week, I mean, we've been in this now for about 7 weeks running, but sometime last week, the question that was asked was referring to Obasa, who has been, there since 2007. He was removed by his colleagues, and a lot of reasons were given for his removal. The question I am asking is, I can't preempt the man, I'm not in his mind. I really can understand the mindset of everyone, the 40 members in 39 in all. But the question is, how do they move forward from the reasons why he was impeached for in the first place? Are there going to be changes? Do you see this latest development as something that is concrete to stay, or we wake up tomorrow and there's another something else happening in the National Assembly? How will they move forward, in making sure that the reasons why he was impeached in the first place are tackled?
I will want to use a
analogy. You know, when you want to treat a wound, you treat the wound from the root, from the surface. For example, if somebody has a boil, you know, you don't just put some don't just treat it, apply whatever on top of it, but you have to cut off the surface of or use something to punch
to bring out the pores.
To bring out the pores. You know, there's a way you treat from the root. So what has just been done, for me, I don't see any headway for Lagos State House, because this is a man that everybody has complained about. But another way again, I feel maybe, let's say Obasa has learned from his mistakes and he's willing to work very hard to, you know, make up for all the wrongs and for all the weaknesses and whatever, or the setbacks, except for that. But for me, I don't see any headway, because there will still be challenges in the house, because there was a reason why he was removed. There was insatisfaction. They were not satisfied with his own style of leadership, and that was the reason why he was removed. And as long as that unsatisfaction has not been dealt with, there will always be occurring issues in that. And then they may have frickles between him and his deputy. Anyway, politicians know how to work with themselves. Because of what has happened, he may be looking at her in a bad light for her to have taken that position without maybe telling him or consulting him. Or I was just thinking aloud, I don't know if I'm right, because, you know, for example, if you are my deputy and then I expect both of us are working together and I traveled and such kind of thing happened, I expect you as my deputy to have my back, to tell me, please come back, or this is what's going to be happening, because it must have been planned, it must have been pre-planned before it was, you know, carried out. So for it not to have taken, I will have a little issue with you, a little frickles, which will make us not to work the way we ought to work. So what am I trying to say? There will still be issues in Lagos State, because what the challenge is has not been dealt with from the root. It was just from the surface. So there may still be challenges.
So like the papers have said, the next 48 hours will be very crucial, you know, as they continue to take a look and make sure that everything works well as they ought to work.
I pray he has learned and he work very hard to make sure everything works very well. All
right, if you just joined us, it is the press this morning. We'll take a breather, and when we return, we shall be going straight on to our next topic, which we want to take a look at, which is the closure of schools during the Ramadan in 3 states: Kebbi, Bauchi, Kano, and of course the headlines today on the Punch says Ramadan, Kebbi, Bauchi, Kano, Rebov, Can says schools remain closed. When we come, the conversation. We'll take a break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the press this morning, reaching you live from our Abuja studio. Before we went on the break, we did say we shall be returning to discuss the closure of schools in 3 northern states of Kebbi, Katsina, and Bauchi. Both public-private schools have been asked to go on holiday, compulsory holiday, for the whole month of Ramadan during this period. And of course, can raise his voice to say that this would be an infringement on the fundamental rights of those students and teachers, because the reason given is to make way for the teachers and students to fast, to observe the fast during this time. But fortunately for us in the studio today, our guest, Uthman Isa Tochukwu, happens to be a Muslim, and a lawyer. It will be helping us understand, the situation, going on, because the governors of the state have said the schools must remain closed. So I want to ask the implication of this, not just on our education system, but also on the students and the teachers themselves, and of course the decision taken by these state governors. And someone raised a very important point, saying that even in Saudi Arabia, where you hold, which is the core Muslim capital, schools are not closed during Ramadan or any fasting. So why is it happening in Nigeria? And not only that, billions of naira have been earmarked or set aside to feed people during this Ramadan period by some state. Combination of the northern states. So I will really want you to make us understand, because there's a lot of confusion on this unfolding situation. As a Muslim, as a Nigerian, as a lawyer, what is your take on this? What does Islam?
If you invite me to comment as a lawyer, I will be more comfortable to comment as a lawyer. But if you invite me to comment as a Muslim, it may be very difficult, because I do not hold that qualification, that gives me the privilege to speak on some scholarly issues when it comes to issues related to religious aspect of Ramadan and all of that.
You are qualified all round to make us understand this.
I think that with all due respect to the 3 state governors, this is not the first time we are observing fast in Nigeria. Right? That's one. Number 2, fasting is a spiritual thing, in the sense that once you are fasting, you are submitting your spiritual affairs to God Almighty. That should not stop other activities that happens in your life. Just like education. It is not known anywhere in the Quran or in the Hadith, which is the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may the peace and blessings of God be upon him. It's not known anywhere in the history of Islam where some certain activities were stopped outrightly because of fasting. So this is a new thing now. It's a new thing. And I feel that they were not sensitive to accommodate other people who are not Muslims. It's like when you are praying and you are blocking the right of way just because of that few minutes you want to use to pray. Other people who are not praying, what happens to their right of way? That they have to use the road to pass. Similar thing, when you shut down schools, what about people who doesn't observe fast, who are not Muslims? That means they won't go to school too. And these things are not, I'm not aware of any law that provides for this kind of thing. And this is part of what we are saying about constitutional democracy. The fact that you are a governor does not give you absolute right to take some certain decisions in your state. Yes, you are the chief security officer of your state. Yes, you are the commander-in-chief of your state. But then again, even your office is created by law. So whatever you are going to do has to be within the ambit of the law. The moment you act outside that, then the court is there for people to go and seek redress and then look at it in the legal mindset and see whether or not it is something that is doable. I personally do not think that it's the right thing to do, because Ramadan is something that we do every year. And it does not stop you from other activities. I mean, school is just for how many hours? 1:32, you are closed, you come back. So I don't see any
Now, because this is a
thing.
very, now this ought not to be a sensitive topic, but because of our common history, where religion plays a major role, not by our design, but because of the way we've decided to live our life, religion plays such a major role in our democracy or in our life as a people. So one has to be careful, because when I was coming this morning, someone called on the radio and actually gave a warning that, we should be careful how we talk about,
like you see, the way
this unfolding situation.
Khan has raised an issue already. And the moment Khan raise an issue, it becomes like
a two-sided Christian thing,
which is very unnecessary.
Be very careful.
Which is very unnecessary. The country is already fired up. We have so many things we are facing. Some of these looking like a sensitive kind of situation we should try as much as possible to avoid them. And if you look at the North with the indices of literacy in Nigeria, you will find out that some of these states are the least to reckon with when you talk about indices, when you talk about the level of education. Now you go and shut down school for 30 days.
That's now please, the phone lines are open. Please, let's give our viewer the phone line so they can call in and be part of the conversation. Please call in and let us get your views on the unfolding situation in the nation from your side, how you see, how you feel, how you understand them. Please let your language be seasoned, no insults, no abuse, just go straight to your point. Please, let's be very, very cautious at times like this. We have a caller, Mohammed from Maiduguri. Hello, Mohammed.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mohammed. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yes, you have covered a long range of issues. So well done for the effort and enlightenment you are creating to Nigerians.
Thank you so much.
Let me quickly go to this last point this lawyer made. Actually, as Islam, something of that nature are not there, agreed. But I don't know the reason why the politicians decided to close the schools. I don't know. I'm not in position to talk on them, and that is that. But really, things of that nature need to be reviewed so that it can be a kind of accommodating everybody and normalize things. You don't need to scratch matches when you are standing in front of a dry leaf. That is one thing. I don't like it anyway. So my personal opinion anyway. So I wouldn't say that issue of politicians changing political party and so on and so. As the lawyer is talking, we are here in Nigeria. Bukola Saraki, who was the governor of PDP, senator of PDP, came back to APC and then find his way to become a Senate president under APC. All of a sudden, before his tenure, he has changed as a Senate president while sitting down, presiding the National Assembly as PDP member. He didn't leave that office. The same thing the Speaker of the House of Rep, Yakubu Dogara Biden, who was the PDP House of Rep for many years, then came back to APC and become a APC rep and find his way to become a Speaker of the House under APC. Before the tenure elapsed, he left the party that gave him that opportunity and went back to the PDP. We are all here in Nigeria. So for that reason, the issue of political and politicians is not something that we shouldn't disturb ourselves. It's just that many of us are ignorant of what they used to do. If they are in the boardroom or in their restaurants, they are not talking about you. They are talking about their personal engagement, how they manipulate ballot box, how they can go in, come from this party to another party. So for that reason, don't mislead Nigerians. Politicians are politicians, honestly speaking. And politics is a vehicle to move you to a political appointment, not a worship, not a religion. So for that reason, whatever they do, if they can be able to come back and sort out their political differences amicably, all what Nigerians are looking for is good governance and stability. What is bothering Nigeria today is this hardship of devaluation of our currency, the difficulties of fueling, difficulty of electricity, difficulty of life that is touching Nigerians is more worrisome than what they do in the political room. Let me just clearly say it. leadership that can carry everybody alone. It's okay. We don't need to know who is the president, who is the governor, who is the this. What all Nigerians need is good things, good life for all of us. Look at what this Donald Trump is doing now in America. It's a welcome development, welcome call for every politician in Nigeria. Let us look at it. He said America first. Why can't those be Nigeria first? Why must we become a kind of semi-slave to any European nation? Or running to them, begging them to come and do direct foreign investment? Somebody is investing $50 million here and taking $200 million worth of things in your country, and you are clapping hands, thinking that he is helping you. Helping who? Then, that is my opinion. Then, coming to the issue of crisis in Nigeria, I'm still saying it too. Most of these crisis merchants, they are sponsored by these outsiders and their NGOs that are working within us. We shouldn't think about them. In the southeast, what is happening is clear testimony. In the southwest, Sunday Igboho now is in Germany, receiving training on how to come back and form another crisis group. Boko Haram, we really got a discovery of how U.S. aid was being diverted to sponsor Boko Haram. The case is already on the ground.
Yes, Mohammed, I wish we could go on and on. We have to give other people the chance to call in.
In summary, let us be ourselves. Let us help ourselves as a people. Let us look inward and help ourselves by ourselves, because nobody will provide the solution more than we, the Nigerians. That is my saying.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mohammed. We appreciate your call. Okay, that's our first caller for the morning. Mohammed from Maiduguri. He said, good leadership is what we should look for as Nigerians, not where the leaders come from, either north, south, east, or west, not the geopolitical zone, which will divide the country into, but good leadership is what we all want. So still talking about, yes, the phone lines are still open, so you can call in and let us have your views. But let us go back, talking about constitutional democracy. Tayo, the lawyer raised that point that we should begin to consider constitutional democracy, and that's exactly what we talked about when we discussed about Lagos State and of course River State. We use that those two states as a yardstick where you know, decisions are taken outside the constitution and they seem to hold sway. And the question, Nigerians are looking, the youth coming behind are looking, and the question being asked is, what is our democracy becoming, where people can take decisions outside the constitution and it stays? Then he raised another valid point. Do they go to court? Those people, those who are not fasting, again, let's be clear, non-Muslims who are not observing Ramadan, and even Muslims who are observing Ramadan, who are against the closure of schools, do they now settle this case by going to court, holding these governors accountable? I really want your take, because most times we leave everything to God. Okay, now has God one time? That has become the life of a typical Nigerian. So the question is, do you think they should insist on constitutional democracy by holding the governors accountable? But before then, let us take this call from our second caller. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
We lost it.
Okay, we lost that call. Please call in. Call in. The phone lines are right there on your screen. Call in and be part of the conversation. So before the call comes in again, I would want a reaction to that.
Okay, my own take is very important, very paramount that we develop a constitutional democracy, and there should be guidelines and rules to govern, you know, all these constitutions, and there should also be maybe anybody that does not follow these constitutions, they should also give them punishments, or there should be, you know, there should
sanctions.
Be, you know, what do you say? Sanctions.
Yes.
Thank you. There should be sanctions against those that does not follow those rules, because it's because of the way we handle it with levity of hand, the way we, you know.
Yeah, sorry, we have a call. Let's take that call. Just hold your thoughts for a while. Zeremo from Makurdi. Zeremo, good morning.
Thank you for this wonderful
presentation. Please, I want to comment on this issue of some school closure.
Please go ahead.
These governors are using this as these governors are using this. They are using religion as a political issue. It's not supposed to be done this way. Because these children have their own fundamental human rights. Now, where will they take their own things now? Now they are being supposed to now extend their studies. Please, the government should not take education as religion as a political tool for second tenure. Please. Please, let them do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Zaremo.
Nigeria.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. So the phone lines are still open. Please call in and give us your views on the unfolding stories this morning. So please go ahead.
Like I was saying, that there should be sanctions against anyone that does not follow the constitutions, because the way we do things, we just do things haphazardly, we just do things anyhow, and our children are learning. They are learning seriously.
Yes. We have another caller. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm Uthman from Gombe.
Yusuf Uthman.
Yes, from Gombe.
Please go ahead.
Yes, my take-up is on the issue of school closure.
Okay. Go ahead.
See, I know there are some states that have closed their schools during Ramadan period, which is traditionally we are not used to it. But what people fail to understand that every state has the power to implement their policies and their laws. Apart from even the constitutions, the state have the power to implement some policies that may not even favor you. You see, you cannot say, okay, you cannot go to Jos and say, okay, everybody should go home because of Ramadan. Where the predominant community are Muslims, they feel like doing so, even though they have not done it, they have not been doing it. That's why argument came. When they feel like saying, okay, the government decided to implement that policy, I don't even believe that even the constitution can contradict that one. State governors have their own right to implement some policies that may not even favor someone that came from other states. That does not mean the governor does not have power. If you go to America, you see there are some laws, there are some states allow humans as well. There are some states ban it. So every state have their own power to implement some policy, whether it's suit you or whether it's not suit you, whether it be political or whether it's not political. These are not sounds. It's just supposed not to bring some argument. It is not people that in the state that should argue. It's not somebody that's somewhere else. Yeah, that's how I feel it. I'm from Gombe. Gombe did not implement that policy. That the state governor is not feeling okay. I cannot do that one. Get the other states to do it. Allow them with their policy. Let everybody go on its own. That's why sometimes we cause a lot of problem and friction with it.
Okay. Yusuf. Can I ask a question, please?
Okay, ask me a question.
Okay, you're talking about policies and you're saying, governors have the right to take certain decisions out of the Constitution.
Section 1 sub 3.
So I'm saying in this case, we have people who are not Muslims, who are not observing the fast, who are also teachers in this school. Students who are not Muslims, they are all caught up in all of this. Do you think this decision should have been taken the way it was taken? Probably provisions would have been made for only Muslim students not to go to school.
When you are Europe, those as Romans do. When you are Europe,
but this is Nigeria.
Should be like in Nigeria.
Even if you are living in a society that does not belong to you,
okay.
You know what they feel like, you just carry on.
Okay.
That's what I feel.
All right. Thank you so much. Let us give room for
problems for ourselves.
I think there
Thank you.
is a very important point he raised.
Okay.
And I needed to make some clarifications
please
because he
go
was
ahead.
talking about law here.
Okay.
Nigeria is operating a federal system of government. All the 36 states of the federation, including those 3 states, right, are a creation of the 1999 constitution. And as such, they are bound by the provisions of the constitution. And section 1 sub 3 of the 1999 constitution provides that you have the powers to make laws in your respective states, but those laws you are making must not be inconsistent with the provisions of the constitution. So long as those policies, call it anything, you've made in your respective state conflict with the provisions of the constitution, it is to the extent of that is inconsistency. None other void, and it's bound to be set aside.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning. What's your name, please, sir? What's your name? Adeshoye. Okay, Miss Adeshoye, please go ahead. Go ahead, we can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Please, the like to advance the government is to do the nation. Because the last, the most appointment of the government yesterday, talking to the youth, it's the youth against the law. I don't know how government will be using compassion to get government of your hand, getting the youth. So this, against the young guy, I know he's a mature man, he will not to accept this thing. That's what it's feeling. I really for the number of good 28 years. I know it's happening for Port before I retire. But please, you can use this stadium for appeal to the government. It should not be useful. Because I want people to the river state. But the guy is not ready to yield. The people are going to Obasa is not ready to yield. And there are my people there, there are my family there. He's not ready to yield. That man is not stubborn. He's a stubborn man. And after the job man is a stubborn man. And I play with them for all this service. I play with them and I come down. Because when this black man started, I was in France at that time. And the governor, don't use this governor as the governor. The whole is a header. The element, the non-gamble. They bet, let's say 1 weekend, don't use this governor as the governor. It's not mature. It's not mature. So what I'm trying to say like that? Use this video to appeal to the governor. To do the needful. He should do the needful. Otherwise, something will happen.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It would have even been
Thank
better
you so
to say
much.
only the Muslims within the period of the fasting should not go to school, but not to shut down school totally.
Completely.
Imagine what will happen if you say, let all the government workers not go to work for 30 days. Do you know how much Nigeria will be losing for that decision?
Well, if you...
Education
Yes,
is
because of time, I think we'll almost run out of time. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we will come back to say our final bye-byes. Just for a moment. Stay with us. Yes, welcome back. It is still the press this morning, and we're almost rounding up our discussion this morning. So I guess they're still here. I want you to know that. But before the break, before that caller who actually took us all the way to to the south this morning, talking about what's going on in Port Harcourt, he did say that he said a lot about Wike being stubborn and Fubara being stubborn, and they told him, and well, the what's happening there is unfolding. The governor has been given less than 48 hours to come up with his budget for 2025. Let us just sit back and wait and see how that will happen. But because of time, Issa did raise a very, very important issue, talking about the 3 schools that were closed, and you did say that it would have been better if only
the Muslims
were told
yes, and
to
I also
stay
want
back
to make
home while the schools are left
a
open.
quick closing remark. The court is not a Father Christmas that gives you what you did not ask for. Somebody must have to go to court to ask the governors to reverse that policy. Until you do that, the court cannot take decision on your behalf.
They just wait.
Yes.
So I want you, because you were actually talking on the situation in the 3 states. So I would want your take on that.
I want to say education is key, and we should not deprive our children from this education, because they will compete, with other people outside tomorrow. And then they are the ones that will step in our shoes when this present administration is no more, or when this generation is no more. Those generation we are bringing up, can they withstand what they will meet? You understand? So it's very important that we don't deprive them from that education. It's possible they can even cut off the shoe to half day than just closing it down. Let's say all school 12, so that before the fasting gets into them, they've gone home. That would have been a better decision.
Because personally, I was, because when I heard, that decision, I was like, was it because of insecurity? That's why the decision was made. I don't know. So let us take our last call before we sign off this morning on the press. Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Zaria.
From where?
Joseph from Zaria.
Zaria.
Joseph from Zaria.
Zaria.
Please go ahead. We don't have time. Thank you, Joseph. Go ahead, Joseph.
We see that I want us to contribute to social education, because government has spending a lot to make sure that these our children that are out there to come back to school. And even some government that they are closing by one because of this fasting. For my advice that make a provision if you might 12, and it should close and go and settle at home and do whatsoever they want to do. But totally close to school. It's cool. It's not advice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. So there you have it. Yes, before the call came in, I would want you to round up on your take on the situation, or are you done with it?
Yes, but we were talking about sanctions being placed on the Constitution. Anybody that does not adhere to the Constitution, which will really help the smooth running of the government. So it's very important that we don't just take laws into our hands and do things that will be detrimental to the next generation coming in. So like I said it would have been good to do half day, so that before, I'm thinking maybe because of the fast, maybe some of the children, maybe some could collapse in class because they are fasting or something, or maybe get sick or something, but they could just do half day so that they can still teach them for half day. And then maybe if they have a plan, a better plan, maybe to cover up the topics they've missed for that 1 month, then fine, then it would be a better deal. For me, half day would have been a good. They should consider non-Muslims. They should consider in the midst of it.
Well, that's the much we can take on the press this morning. We want to appreciate all our callers. Mohammed from Maiduguri, who spoke on good leadership, and Zabremo from Kodi, who said that politics should be removed from education, and of course Yusuf Uthman, who says that when in Rome, you act like a Roman. And of course, Adeshoye from Ekiti, who called to let us know about the situation in River State, saying, you know, there should be peace in the state. And of course, Joseph, who called from Zaria, saying, you know, even if it's half day, 12 o'clock, the schools can close, but not a total shutdown. We appreciate you all for calling on the show. And of course, how can we go without thanking our wonderful guest in the house, Tayo Laniyi, who is a social affairs commentator who helps to balance the conversation. And of course, lawyer in the house, Uthman Tochukwu, who is a lawyer as well as a social commentator. Isa, we appreciate you so much for being on the show every time I call you. My name is Anire Binitie. I appreciate you for being at the other side, watching, and of course, being our guest on the flip side. Every day will come Monday to Friday. Until next time, stay safe, stay positive. Nigeria is the only home we have. Remember, the place where two rivers meet, the people shall be great. Have a wonderful day.